my fellow oddities, and welcome to a new design ranking video. Today we'll be covering another ninja, but this will not be a re-rank like my last two. Instead, for the first time, we'll be ranking all of Rain's designs, with his appearance in Mortal Kombat 1, bringing him just over the edge for the 10 design limit that I have in order to make a ranking video. For those who haven't seen the previous videos, let's reiterate the rules. The first rule is that I will only be ranking designs from Mortal Kombat games, which means no comics, movies, or cartoons, or any other games that Rain may have made an appearance in. The second rule is that I will not be ranking any repeated or reused designs, which means no recreated classic costumes from the later games. The third rule is for Mortal Kombat 11 only, and usually it would be that I'd only rank the costumes featured in the story, since MK11 has a lot of designs that just aren't worth talking about, but since Rain is included in the story, we'll just be ranking his default design. And the fourth and final rule is that I will not be ranking any designs from Mortal Kombat mobile games, only console releases. And with that being said, let's get started with Rain's 11 designs, starting at the bottom with number 11, the Order of Darkness design from MK1. Now, I don't think any of Rain's designs are bad at all. The main reason I have this one at the bottom is because of the hair. I just don't think it really fits Rain, and if you're gonna have the hair, then I think the tied up look fits the best. MK1 also has that whole mage look going on for Rain, especially with the legendary bubble staff, but I will always prefer his more ninja assassin look with just a touch of royalty, whereas here I think they strayed too far from his ninja aspects, not really having any black, and all the colors being shades of purple and gold. At number 10, I have the default design from Mortal Kombat 1. This might be controversial, but ever since I first saw this design, I was slightly disappointed after all the cool designs we got from Mortal Kombat 11. Like with the previous design, there's no black on this one, which really takes away from his roots as a palette swap ninja, and even though I appreciate them doing something new, the whole mage thing just never really did it for me. Also, some people have said this already, but the gold sash that he has on his chest really looks out of place and kind of messes with the color balance. For things that I like, I'm a fan of the hooded look and mask, and I also like the texture of the clothes used for the outfit. It looks very tangible and clothy, if that makes sense. At number 9, I have his alternate from Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Shocker, we're actually talking about Mortal Kombat Armageddon. This one to me just feels kind of forced, like they didn't have any idea of what to give him, but they had to give him an alt, so they just slapped something kind of generic together that is missing just something to make it stand out. The mask, the gauntlets, and the boots carried over from the default still all look good, but that's also a part of the problem since it carries over all the good things from that default, but doesn't add anything of its own to really chew on. So yeah, just kind of a costume for padding. At number 8, I have the Emperor Rain from Mortal Kombat 1 that was in the Chaos Reign story, and I think this version of him was a keeper of time. I don't know, Chaos Reigns was a bit of a fever dream for me, I barely remember anything. But this costume is neat for what it's going for. I think the mage look is a bit more edgy or grounded, dark. I don't really know what the word is to describe it, but I like it better here. I actually think the light blue parts of the design look really good, especially on the eyes. I'm not saying I would want that to carry over to a default Rain design, but it's definitely an interesting option to have since it does match his powers and abilities of rain and water, even though that's actually not what it's supposed to be representing. It's supposed to be representing time and Chronica and bleh. But yeah, this one is good. And he also happens to be the only good parts of Chaos Reigns. At number 7, I have the newest design to be added to Rain's palettes, the MK 1995 look. Now, Rain obviously wasn't in MK 1995, so this is kind of a similar situation to the classic Cyber Sub-Zero from MK9. The nostalgia factor isn't really there, so it just makes the flaws a little bit more glaring. I really think they should have just given him the Annihilation design, since, listen, I know, you guys know, everyone knows that movie is terrible, but the designs in it weren't that bad compared to everything else. I do appreciate though how they give him the mask from that movie, even if it's been 1995-ified. But yeah, the look of the exposed hands look really out of place. It feels like a cheap cosplay by today's standards. And also the staff looks really odd with the classic ninja look since you never really see any of the ninjas using the staff. And the UMK3 look from this game also has that same problem. At number 6, I have his MK1 Order of Light design. I think this one kind of peels back the mage inspirations and it just streamlines the whole look better than his other outfits from this game. It feels very royal and flashy, which I like for Rain, and it just keeps things more simple to the usual ninja template, even if it's still missing that sort of edge to it. I really like the colors on this one. You have a nice saturated and shiny yellow, and also this deep, almost shimmering purple. I kind of see this as Rain in his everyday clothes, whereas his more assassin ninja look is when he's obviously going out and fighting people. Into the top 5, I have the UMK3/Trilogy Classic design. I've talked about this one to death at this point, but I do like it a little bit better for Rain compared to the other ninjas. Firstly, I think he just owns the design a little bit better and it's more superhero-y aspects compared to the other ninjas. I don't know if it's just because this is the one he was introduced with or if it genuinely just fits his character more, but whenever I think of a classic ninja, for all the other ones I think of MK2, maybe MK1, but for Rain, I think of UMK3/Trilogy. I also think the colors are much better on this one compared to the other ninjas. The purple is not as overly bright in most instances. At number 4, I have his MK11 base design. Now, when I first saw this when he was revealed, I was actually quite disappointed since I felt like it was a bit basic and a step back from what we got in Armageddon 9 and X. But I've come around to it a lot. It doesn't do as much to drastically change up the formula as much as those other designs I mentioned, and it keeps it pretty faithful to how ninjas originally looked. But it adds just a little bit of flair, especially with the gold accents, that look great. I also really like the inclusion of the Qatar, not guitar, but Qatar. I feel like I've made that joke before. I have definitely, but I don't remember where. This is the weapon that he uses, and I definitely prefer it over the legendary bubble staff. I also think this was the first time Rain had a darker skin tone, which was carried over into MK1, and I think that looks great as well. For whatever reason, it just blends really well with his purple outfit. Is that racist? I don't think so, but maybe. At number 3, taking the bronze medal, I have the Mortal Kombat X design. I think this looks great, taking inspiration from the Armageddon mask, while the rest of it is very flashy and showing Rain's pride and royalty. Is it a bit too revealing? Yeah, it looks like he doesn't fight for a living, instead has a different profession, but you know what, if there's anyone that's gonna have that profession in the Mortal Kombat universe, it's gonna be Rain. But this design doesn't really suffer from MKX's desaturation. The purple and gold look really nice. I especially like the purple gems on a few places and the star-like indent in his boots and gauntlets. His hair also looks great as it usually does, especially with this sort of mask. And yeah, MKX, you're safe from my wrath this time, but that may not last very long, so watch your back. In the runner-up spot, number 2, we have his design from Mortal Kombat 9. This Rain, I don't know if it was just the fact that he didn't speak, but this Rain had a different level of aura compared to all the other ones. This one really leans into the assassin look with the Melina-like veil, the tight black hood, and the much smaller eye hole. The rest of the outfit also has much more black and more practical looking gear for a fight than Rain usually has. There's not as much gold and it's not as bright, but I think that works for what they're going for here. Plus, I think the light purple decals on his vest look much better than the usual gold ones. Anyway, I also really like the curvy, flashy shoulder pads and the things on his hips. I don't know what they're called. But overall, I think this design does a really good job joining together all the different aspects of Rain's character and showing it really effectively through its aesthetic, but there's still one design that I think just does it a little bit better. And that is, at number 1, the Mortal Kombat Armageddon default design. What a long way Armageddon has come, from getting clowned on in every video to now being the top spot for one of its designs. Bravo. Bravo. I don't know why I'm doing that. This was the first time Rain had been playable since Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and so this was also the first time his design had been modernized with the new graphics, and I still don't think that they've done it better since. This one really has everything I enjoy in a good Rain design, a nice hairstyle, a good mix of black, purple, and gold, really clean gauntlets and boots, and my favorite thing is that cape that really makes him feel like a prince, along with his mask, which is almost a mask/crown that looks really cool. I just think this one is the best at taking in the royal Prince of Edenia aesthetic and blending that with the traditional cool ninja look that we're all used to, and then adding a little bit of flashiness to show how prideful and full of himself that Rain is. And that's going to do it for every Rain design ranked. Let me know your ranking in the comments down below, and while you're down there, make sure to check out the links in the description to my merch store, Twitter, and Instagram. Also give this video a like to show your support, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to know when I next upload. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.